Welcome back to the channel Coins Buyers. Today's exciting video where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and uncover the hidden treasure that might be lying in your pocket change. And today's spotlight is on the 1981 United States quarter dollar, a coin that at first glance looks like just another regular piece of change worth 25 cents, but in reality, because of very specific minting mistakes, mint mark errors, and rare varieties, this coin has been reported to be worth an astonishing $48 million, and that is exactly what makes it one of the most talked about pieces in the coin collecting community. So let us take a journey into history, rarity, and value to understand why something so common in circulation can suddenly become one of the most prized possessions for collectors worldwide, and why you should always keep an eye on your coins, because hidden within a pile of quarters might just be a life-changing discovery. The 1981 quarter was minted at multiple locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and like most coins of the era it was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, with the familiar design of George Washington on the obverse, a design that has been a staple on U.S. quarters since 1932, and the proud American eagle on the reverse, symbolizing strength and freedom. But despite its ordinary circulation, some 1981 quarters have come to light with errors so spectacular that their value skyrocketed far beyond imagination, with collectors and auction houses willing to pay unimaginable sums for the right piece. You see, in the world of coin collecting, errors are not simply mistakes, they are unique historical anomalies that represent a moment when the minting process went wrong, creating a one-of-a-kind collectible that cannot be duplicated. And when it comes to the 1981 quarter, the possibilities of these errors include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and perhaps most intriguingly, mint mark anomalies where the tiny letter denoting the mint location was either misplaced, doubled, or completely missing, and these little differences, sometimes barely visible to the naked eye, can be the key to transforming an ordinary 25-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar rarity. One of the most famous stories surrounding the 1981 quarter is that a small batch was struck with an incorrect mint mark placement that escaped into circulation before quality checks could catch them, and because so few were ever released, their rarity is immense, with only a handful known to exist today, and that scarcity combined with collector demand is what drives the astronomical prices, in some cases leading to valuations as high as $48 million for pristine or unique specimens that cross the auction block, making it one of the most sensational discoveries in American numismatics. Collectors know that when you are dealing with errors, condition is everything, because a coin with sharp details, clear luster, and minimal wear can multiply in value compared to the same error found in a heavily circulated condition, and grading agencies play a big role in certifying and authenticating such coins, giving buyers confidence in their purchase, and raising the competitive bidding that pushes prices higher and higher, sometimes into territory that seems unbelievable to those outside the collecting world. But why does this coin in particular inspire such frenzy? The answer lies in the combination of the era and the rarity, because 1981 was the last year before the US Mint transitioned to producing the special quarters for the statehood commemorative series in later decades, meaning it holds historical importance as one of the last quarters of the classic eagle reverse design, and when paired with minting errors, it becomes not only a rare mistake but also a nostalgic artifact from a period in American coinage history that has long since passed, making it a magnet for collectors who are willing to pay almost any price to secure it. Imagine finding one of these in your spare change, a coin you might have casually spent on a soda or left in a drawer, suddenly revealed under closer inspection to be worth a fortune, and that is why coin collectors emphasize learning how to spot errors, understanding mint marks, and paying attention to small details, because opportunities like this are incredibly rare but not impossible, as history has shown with coins discovered in circulation decades after they were minted. The appeal of the 1981 quarter that sold for or is valued at $48 million is also tied to the thrill of the hunt, the idea that something so extraordinary could still be out there, waiting to be found by someone who cares enough to look, and that is what makes the coin collecting hobby so addictive and rewarding, blending history, treasure hunting, and the potential for massive financial gain all in one. For new collectors, the key takeaway is that not all quarters are created equal, and the 1981 issue is one that deserves a careful second look whenever it appears, especially if it carries unusual characteristics, strange mint marks, or signs of minting flaws, because while most will be worth only face value, the rare few that contain mistakes have the power to change lives, inspire awe, and write themselves into the pages of numismatic history. And as we explore the story of this remarkable coin today, let it serve as both a lesson and an inspiration, that within even the smallest and most ordinary objects there can exist untold value and hidden stories waiting to be uncovered, stories that connect us to the past and offer us a glimpse of the extraordinary in the everyday. So keep your eyes open, keep your coins safe, and maybe, just maybe, the next legendary discovery will be yours. Where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures in your pocket change, and today we will be focusing on one of the most incredible and surprising stories in United States coinage, the 1996p Washington quarter dollar that is said to be worth an astonishing $35 million because of its errors, mistakes, and rare mint mark issues that have transformed what is normally a simple 25-cent coin into a fortune. And if you are curious about how a small coin that was struck for everyday circulation could end up being valued so high, then stay with us, because this story combines history, minting mysteries, collector demand, and the thrill of discovering something extraordinary in a coin jar. So let us start with the background of the Washington quarter, which was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, a design that continued for decades with some modifications, and by the mid-1990s the Philadelphia Mint was striking millions of these coins for commerce, including the 1996p issue. Now, what makes this particular coin so exciting is not its common strikes, but rather the few rare specimens that slipped through with remarkable errors that are not only unusual but also highly desired by collectors. And when a coin has a mint mark error or some kind of striking mistake, it can completely transform its value, because these are accidents of production that create one-of-a-kind pieces. For example, double die errors where the design elements appear doubled, off-center strikes where the image is misaligned, or missing mint marks that cause the coin to look completely different from others of its type. And in the case of the 1996p quarter, the mint mark P that signifies it was struck in Philadelphia is central to its story, because some coins have been reported with distorted or misplaced mint marks. And in extremely rare cases, collectors believe a combination of striking issues, planchette flaws, and mint mark anomalies have created coins that are absolutely unique. And when you combine uniqueness with the passionate world of coin collecting where rarity drives demand, the value can skyrocket beyond imagination. So while the face value of this quarter remains only 25 cents, the extraordinary examples that display these mistakes have been reported at values as high as $35 million, which sounds unbelievable but makes sense when you consider how collectors treat these coins as works of art and pieces of American history. Now, why do errors like this happen at all? Well, the minting process involves blank metal discs called planchets being struck by dies that hold the coin design, and when the machinery is slightly misaligned, or when dies are reused too long, or when a mint mark is accidentally punched incorrectly, errors are born. And unlike regular coins where billions may exist, error coins can be just one or two surviving examples, which means supply is essentially non-existent while demand among advanced collectors and investors is extremely high, and that creates these unbelievable price tags. And the 1996p quarter is a perfect example of how an ordinary pocket coin can become a multi-million-dollar treasure, because imagine you find a quarter in your change and it has a strange mint mark error or a doubling of George Washington's profile. You might think it is just a damaged coin, but in the coin collecting world, damage and mint error are two completely different things. Damage reduces value, but a true mint error raises it beyond limits. So people who take the time to learn how to identify these issues are the ones who sometimes make discoveries that change their lives. And for the 1996p quarter dollar, collectors have specifically looked for doubling in the lettering, off-center designs, unusual planchette cracks, and most importantly, issues with the P mint mark. And in the rarest cases, these specimens are so unusual that they have been valued at $35 million, a figure that represents not just the coin itself but also the competition between wealthy collectors who are willing to pay anything to secure a piece that no one else owns. And this is what makes coin collecting such an exciting world, because something so small can hold such massive worth, and it also teaches us that paying attention to the small details matters. So the next time you get a handful of quarters, do not dismiss them as ordinary change. Take a close look at the date. the mint mark, the alignment of the design, any doubling in the letters or numbers, or even any strange metal lines, because you never know if you are holding the next great discovery, and the story of the 1996 P quarter is a reminder that history, art, accidents, and economics all collide in the world of numismatics, transforming a coin that was only ever meant to buy a candy bar into a museum-worthy treasure valued at millions. And when people ask why someone would pay so much for a single coin, the answer is simple: it is because rarity, uniqueness, and history cannot be recreated, and once an error coin has survived the minting process and circulation, it becomes a frozen moment in time that cannot be duplicated, which is why collectors assign such astronomical value. So whether you are a beginner or an experienced collector, the 1996 P quarter dollar stands as one of the most dramatic reminders of what is possible in coin collecting, turning a face value of 25 cents into $35 million simply because of errors, mistakes, and mint mark mysteries, and that is the kind of story that keeps people around the world searching their pocket change with excitement and hope. World of rare coins, and uncover the hidden treasures that might be sitting in your pocket change, and in this video we will be focusing on the incredible story of the 1974 D Washington quarter dollar, a coin that might look like an ordinary piece of pocket change at first glance but has a jaw-dropping value of around $63 million because of its rare errors, minting mistakes, and unique variations that set it apart from the millions of other coins struck in the same year. And as we explore this coin, you will learn why collectors and investors chase after it, why its history matters, and what possibilities make it so valuable in today's market. So let's begin with a short introduction to the quarter dollar itself, a coin first issued in 1796 but permanently redesigned in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. And ever since then, the Washington quarter has been a staple of United States coinage, circulating for decades with only minor design changes until the statehood quarter program launched in 1999, but the 1974 D Washington quarter belongs to the earlier era where the coin still carried the classic eagle reverse design and featured the mint mark D beneath the motto on the obverse, standing for the Denver Mint where it was struck, and while hundreds of millions of these coins were produced for circulation, making them common to the naked eye, only a select few bear the rare minting mistakes and striking errors that have transformed them into multi-million-dollar collectibles today. Now the big question is, how does a coin with a face value of just 25 cents become worth an unbelievable $63 million? And the answer lies in the world of numismatic errors, where accidents during the minting process create unique varieties that collectors crave. For example, some 1974 D quarters are known to have double die errors on the obverse where the inscriptions such as Liberty or the date show doubling under magnification, and these errors increase rarity dramatically, while other examples may exhibit striking mistakes like off-center strikes, clipped planches, or even the absence or misplacement of the D mint mark, which instantly separates them from the ordinary coins. Because mint mark errors in particular are highly sought after, since they tell a story of how coins escaped quality control and entered circulation carrying a permanent flaw that makes them rare. Another reason for the high value comes from the possibility of transitional errors, where coins were accidentally struck on planches intended for different denominations or metals, and even though quarters after 1965 were supposed to be clad in copper nickel over a copper core, a few examples are rumored to exist that were mistakenly struck on silver planches left over from earlier production runs. And if a 1974 D quarter exists in silver form instead of clad, that alone could push its value into millions, since it combines a composition error with an extremely low survival rate, and collectors pay fortunes for such anomalies. And when you add the fact that the coin connects directly to the Denver Mint production of the early 70s, an era filled with experimentation and a huge push for mass production, the chances of such errors slipping through increase, creating conditions where a handful of coins could carry errors that make them priceless today. But the story does not stop with physical mistakes, because the sheer rarity and demand of this coin in high grades also contributes to its value, since if you find a 1974 D quarter in pristine mint state condition with flawless luster, sharp strike, and no visible scratches, collectors are willing to bid astronomical amounts at auctions to own the finest known example. And over time these auction records push the coin's perceived market value higher and higher until we reach figures like the $63 million attached to the rarest of them. And it's not just about money, it's also about history, because owning such a coin means holding a tangible piece of American minting history, a coin that was supposed to be ordinary but turned extraordinary through a mistake, and that's what fascinates collectors worldwide, and this is why experts always advise people to carefully check their pocket change, their jars of old coins, and even their family coin collections, because you never know when a small, worn quarter could actually be a hidden treasure worth more than a mansion. And when it comes to the 1974 D quarter, it is important to remember the key features that could indicate rarity, such as doubled lettering, missing or misplaced mint marks, unusual weight, strange coloring, or off-center designs. And while most 1974 D quarters are still only worth face value, the tiny fraction that carry these rare errors and survive in excellent condition are the ones driving up the legendary multimillion-dollar valuations, making this coin not just a collectible but a phenomenon in the numismatic world. So as we wrap up the fascinating journey of the 1974 D quarter, remember that its incredible worth of $63 million is not because of the face value stamped upon it, but because of its flaws, its errors, and its unique story that set it apart, transforming a common coin into a legendary treasure that continues to inspire collectors and remind us all that hidden fortune can be found in the most unexpected places. So keep your eyes open, check your coins, and who knows, you might be the next person to discover a 1974 D quarter with errors worth millions.